The things that we watch, the things that we hear, the things that we experience end up shaping our mental status. So the things that we encounter while we live in this world, they end up shaping who we turn out to be in character, in tendency, in behavior, in routine. So the things that we constantly witness, the things that we constantly intake through our senses, they end up shaping the activities or imaginations that play out in our minds. So if you're an individual who loves watching fantasy films, then it's easy for you to imagine flying or floating in the air. It's easy for you to dream of having wings and flying. So these imaginations and dreams are byproducts of the things that you've taken through your senses gates. So through senses or through the things that you witness or come into contact with in this world, some record is left or impact is left in your brain in form of memory, and this memory can inform your tomorrow's actions. So for example, you witness some path, some area, that path, you might dream using that path to reach a certain destination. So that dream will be a byproduct of that which you've known, that which you've already discovered. So through your senses, through your eyes, through through your sense of touch, through your sense of taste, through all these senses, through the sense of smell. So through all these senses, we intake the external world and have and create a kind of a mental version made up of the already experienced data. So this is what memory is made up of. So through this memory, we can dream, we can imagine, we can create anything in our brains based on the already known data, the already experienced stuff. So these things that we hear, the things that we see, the things that we eat, the things that we partake in, end up in our brains in the form of our psychological realm. So us as the psychology are made up of the things that we experienced before. So when we experience these things and they are recorded into our brains and they turn out to be us or the psychological us, then we become affected or we become vulnerable and susceptible to corruption, to manipulation, to mind control. So this is what the media stations, this is what these companies are using to penetrate through and head straight to people's brains. So people might love their products, people might love their malls, people might love their the things that they sell. So when one is identified with this realm which can be corrupted by external forces, by the movies one watches, by the music one listens to, by the propaganda that's happening around you, by the media propaganda, by the societal traditions and norms. So when one is identified with this, one is kind of identified with that which is a byproduct of the senses, that which is a byproduct of your fleshly senses records. So the things that you witness in this world, you record them in your brain. And so when, let's say for example, you're exposed to a certain community, a certain society, a certain surrounding or neighborhood that speaks a certain language. So when you're exposed to this environment for a very long time, then you might end up becoming a kind of an image of where you come from. So you might tell a person who is straight from the street by how he acts or carries out his daily lives or her daily life. So our characters point to the places that nurtured us. Our ways of carrying out our daily businesses tell of who we are or what has nurtured us or cultured us. So when one realizes this, then one sees that identifying with that which is a record in the brain is identifying with that which is corruptible and can be manipulated. This mental reality can be tweaked or manipulated or bent. So when one is identified with this psychological realm, this is a byproduct of all the propaganda one has ever had. These are byproducts of all the experiences one has ever had. This is a byproduct of the societal lies or the societal trends and norms and traditions and daily practices and routines. So when one is identified with this, then one is kind of identified with that which one is not an author of. And remember, each one of us must be an author of his own destiny. So when your destiny or your imaginations and your dreams and your memories are dictated and preferences are dictated by some external force, some company, some industry, some news media. So when one is identified with this stuff, then these propaganda sources, these sources of manipulation end up corrupting one's life and one becomes kind of an imitation of that which the society is. One becomes a kind of a mirror of the things that have been input into his brain through his or her senses, through the things that one sees on billboards, through these advertisements, through the things that you see daily being practiced around you. So through all these things, one is kind of identified with that which is not deliberate. One identifies with that which is not his own choice. One is identified with that which was deliberately set up to make one a slave of a certain philosophy, of a certain propaganda, of a certain belief system, of a certain way of doing things. So this world of the psyche or the psychology, this psychological us, this mental us, is a world that can be corrupted, a world that can be manipulated by the things one intakes. So a company might decide to advertise its products, and its products might rise, and they really rise after advertisements. So it means that those advertisements tweak people's choices. These advertisements tweak people's opinions and imaginations and decisions. So our decisions, our mental world can be manipulated. It can be impacted and affected by movies, by music, by propaganda, by all these things that we partake in through our senses or that we experience. So they are taken as experiences and they are recorded into our brains as memories. And from those memories, decisions emerge. From those memories, imaginations emerge. From those memories, which some of them are not deliberate, dreams emerge. So one is kind of a mental world rather than a living form or a living being. So this is a distancing oneself from that which is ever sensing, that sensitivity. And one is identified with that which was noticed or was known or is known or already discovered. So when one is identified with the known, one is distanced from the new, from the actual, from the ever unfolding, from the ever fresh, and one abides and lives as that which is gone, as that which is dead, as that which is already experienced, as that which is not and is and does not abide in this present moment. So this is a memory, this is an imagination, this is mental construct. So when one is identified with this, then one is dead, a death of being disconnected from the unfolding of the new, of the actual. So until next time, let's all live and free ourselves from that realm that can be manipulated, from that realm that can be confused or be tweaked or be controlled, mind controlled. So that realm is dangerous, and let's all flee from that realm of psychological dramas, psychological dreams,